What's up, guys? Welcome back to another CZN video. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about tier lists because Pride One updated theirs. This is the one for the Dimensional Twilight, and they also have one for Chaos. I could have sworn they had a generalized tier list for all characters as well, but I'm not seeing it on here. But I kind of want to talk about them a little bit. So this is the one for Dimensional Twilight, and immediately right off the bat, like right when opening this thing, I already see stuff wrong with it without even like having to think about it. Like, they have Hugo listed under a DPS, but DPS implies this unit can solo carry the damage. Hugo cannot do that. Tressa is a DPS, and Hugo is a support DPS for Tressa. Without Tressa, Hugo does jack shit. Without Ren, Hugo does jack shit. He's a support DPS. He can't solo carry damage. That's not how he works. That's not how his extra attack works. So how can you have him listed in literally the #1 position of DPS if he's only enabled by other characters? How does this make any sense for a tier list? This is in the wrong spot. I do agree he's tier 0 based on their metric, but he should be over here, not over here. And having Luke in support DPS. Please tell me, who the fuck is Luke support DPSing? He's a main DPS. He should also be over here. Unless they're implying that Luke is a support DPS for Hugo, because maybe Hugo puts out more damage than him. But the thing is, when you're supporting a character, that other character is enabling you to do your job. Hugo isn't enabling Luke to do his job. Luke is enabling Hugo in that situation. So they're still in the wrong spot. It's just, I don't know. I don't agree with how this thing is structured, for one. I don't agree with Ray being down here and these two being up here. Ray should at least be on the same level as them. I think this in general is okay. I think this tier should be erased and all of these characters should just be moved up. Arguably, I think Lucas should be up here in 0.5. Yuki, the only reason she's right here isn't because her kit's good. It's because she's got a 50% buff in this mode. And that's the only way you can test her right now is with a 50% buff. So having her here doesn't make any fucking sense. And then outside of that, Yuki's only good because this card exists, which every unit has access to. But is that Yuki being good, or is that this forbidden card being good? Because if we're going in the territory of like, oh, if you get these specific neutral cards on this character, then they're good. Then arguably, you could take every single character and put them in tier 0. That's why I don't like tier lists in this game. Because it's all arbitrary. It fucking matters on the build. They say, oh, they don't consider Divine Epiphanies. Oh, they don't consider, I don't know if they consider dupes or not. Like a dupe in a unit makes them considerably different. Maylin's dupes don't make that much of a difference in her kit. They help a bit, but like E2 on Ren and E2 on Luke are way better than E2 on Maylin. That matters too. The utility a unit gets from their ego imprints. So if we're just looking at a base level of the character, and even from a free-to-play perspective, I have a free-to-play account with E2 Magna. I feel like I don't get much out of those dupes. But still, what if someone's free-to-play and they get E2 Luke and they pulled like a Renoa and they have no copies in it, and then they see this tier list and they're like, oh, Renoa's better than Luke. Fuck no, she ain't. Not with 2 dupes in this motherfucker. He's gonna fucking shit on her damage with 2 dupes. That's why I don't like tier lists. There's too many variables to determine where a unit could go in this game. And to keep pumping out slop content with tier lists, it's just a waste of time. Like, I could go and make a tier list right now, and I have another window up to go and make a tier list. But again, it's all arbitrary. Like, if I say at a base level, you don't play any of the units at a base level. You play them with saves. That's why the only relevant tier list is really the Chaos Manifestation. Even then, this still comes down to RNG, and I still don't agree with where they have the units here for the most part. Maylin arguably is the best character overall, I think, for Chaos Manifestation. And the reason that is because she has weakness advantage against everything because of the way passion weakness works. Veronica is up here too. But the thing is, you need like to run this with no shielding support. And this is where it becomes iffy, because I've always thought Calipe was like the best unit in the game. Until you get to fucking Lab 0 difficulty 11. And then you just lack the damage to kill the boss before the fortitude stack's too high. Like, yeah, she'll keep you alive for the entire run for the most part, but then you're going to lack damage when you come to the end and you're going to die. Does considering that make make Calliope worse in Chaos because at the very highest levels, her shielding just isn't enough and you need more damage? Does that drop her a tier? Because that's what it's kind of looking like from my perspective now. I thought Magna was dog shit, and Sue showed me him just hitting 10k damage with her. So arguably, maybe for damage, like, Magna's actually better than Calliope going into late Chaos. Too many variables, even in the Chaos runs, because you are subject to RNG in those runs. You could get a crazy fucking run and the run's just easy. And then also something to consider, which they don't consider in this at all, is the, I still don't think this tier down here should exist. Granted, you know, running through the Chaos, it still matters what you get. Like, if you have Yuki, you get this card, and then you get the brain damage or whatever it's called. Like, I'll revisit that in a second. Yo, I'm here in editing, and I forgot to mention this part at the end of the video, but I'm talking about this unrecognizable memory thing, the blessing at the start. They don't even consider this when they do the tier list. So, there's one in here that, I forget the exact name of it, but it gives you 2% damage every time you draw with an ability, and it stacks for the entire run. So just getting that on Yuki make her tier 0 for Chaos, because I watched Jenna get that on her, and it literally doubled her damage for the entire run. You're going to blast through the entire thing, but she's tier 2. Is she really tier 2? Or you can go, and you could run Mei Lin and not get the good epiphanies, and then your run's bricked. You could run Hugo, you can lose Outbreak of War on your main shit, and then your run's bricked. You can get the shit epiphanies on Haru. Like, every character gets bricked through epiphanies somehow. So how can you make a tier list when everything's subject to RNG? Are we saying, oh, this is a perfect scenario, then this is where they line? Perfect scenario, they're all tier 0, because it's all subject to RNG. And a bad scenario, they're all tier 2. So, what's the point of the tier list? I'm failing to understand, other than like it's just clickbait content and it doesn't fucking matter. Even in Chaos, your ego imprint affects how good they perform in the Chaos. Yet again, a Luke that is tier 2 is going to outperform a Mei Lin that is tier 0. Maybe not every single time because of how the way weakness works, but on an order planet, damn right he will. 100% at a baseline level, but then again, the Mei Lin can still get better epiphanies in the run and end up doing more damage, and he can get shit epiphanies. So it doesn't fucking matter. I'm going to give a tier list based on my preference. I'm just going to leave the base tiers here. There's some units that I haven't played, but I have a good understanding on how good they are. But to be honest, man, there's really only 3 tiers. Like, there's nothing down here. There's only 3 tiers, and that's just... like, maybe you rate them on, like, how difficult they are to use or how difficult it is to get the combo set up or whatever. But in general, man, like, every unit in this game is good. They perform different roles, and you need different epiphanies to make them excel in that role, and that's really it. You know, right off the bat, like, yeah, I do think she is S tier. I do think Mika is S tier. Veronica, I, of course, think she's the top. Of course. Calliope, yeah, even though she kind of falls off giga late game. I'm talking about when the content scales so high that you need damage. You don't need survivability, you need damage. Then she falls off. I didn't expect that. You can't just you can't just tank up nonstop and not put out damage. You have to put out damage, but you know, that just comes up with the variability. Lugo, of course I think he's up here. Of course I think Tressa's up here. Who else? I think Luke's up here. Luke's fucking insane. Granted, you might need that E2 to make him really, really good. That's just how every character is in this game. Renoa, I haven't played with Renoa, but honestly, I would put her up here too. But she feels a little bit more greedy in that aspect, so I'd probably put her in A. Yuki, it really depends, right? Because if you get this card, she's fucking S tier. If you don't get that card, she's not that great. So, I mean, and then again, is that Yuki being good or is it that card being good? It's the same thing. I think I want to look at these. The way I'm going to do this is like their base kit. Like if you get decent epiphanies on their base kit, that's how I'm going to look at this. And if you need a neutral card to be good in your role, I just think the unit probably needs a little bit of tuning. Ren, E2, I think she's up here. E0 probably down here in A. And that kind of goes for Luke as well. So E0, maybe we'll just do it like that. E0, I'll just kind of put them up here. These units at, you know, at the first ego where more of their kit comes online, I'd probably put them up here. Her E0 gives them a little, like, gives her, or her E1 gives her a little bit more damage, and E2 is kind of like decent, but I don't think it's as impactful as these two. But yeah, like, Same thing. And then like, I'm considering a lot of these at E6 because they're 4 stars. So eventually you're going to max them out anyways, right? It just might take a little bit of time. But Magna, arguably, I put her here, but she could also be an S tier too. It really depends. Haru, same thing. E0 here, E2 here. That's really just how a lot of these go. Beryl, I think she's here. And basically the way I'm looking at this is I think Veronica is the best support DPS in the game, and Hugo is the best support DPS in the game. I think these two are just the best 2 support DPS in the game. And everybody else is just secondary to them. That's why they're an A and not an S. And then when it comes to solo damage carrying in a team, I think these two are just the best characters at doing that. Until like these come online with like ego imprints. And granted, I'm giving more leniency for the imprints on 4 stars because they're easier to get. Same thing goes with Kairon. He comes more online with dupes. So he could be up here with dupes. I think at a baseline, he's probably here. Ray, honestly, I want to put Ray up here because she is also a supporting DPS. She's like a support DPS / hybrid. And granted, it's like she will grant your main carry more damage than in its kit. Than like she basically performs these 2 roles, right? So Veronica provides a lot more card draw. Hugo just provides more damage on, you know, targeted attacks, and Ray just buffs the damage of these 2 or whatever you're running in that role. Cassius is kind of in this same niche, but I like, granted, he could be up here as well, but I think at a baseline I put him here. And Selena's kind of the same thing. She's just like, I don't think she's on the level of these 3. And then the same thing kind of goes with Nia. I just don't think they're on the level of these 3 right here. Or Leia, same thing, even though she has different teams that she can go with. And then for these 3, honestly, I put the last 3 in B. Just because, like, not saying they can't be good. Arguably, all of these could be up in S as well, except for Owen. I've paid a lot of Owen, and all he really does is he does the job of these 3 right here, but he doesn't give you anywhere. He gives you kind of like fun combos, but he doesn't give you anywhere near as damage consistently as these up there, and he just kind of is lacking at, you know, in all of that. And it's really just a good baseline would be top with 1/2 egos, and then that's my tier list. That's just how I feel about it. And I'm talking about for all content in the game. I don't really give a shit about Basin, but like, and this is just a generalized tier list on how I feel about everything. Yeah. Let me know what you guys think. I don't like tier lists. People like them, and people like understanding where units are going. I kind of talked about all these as I put them where I put them. Amir, I'm not too familiar with, but I know she can be good. It's another instance with Magna. So arguably she could be up here too. But she fulfills that tank role. And same thing with Maribel. So like they're both okay. So maybe it looks a little bit more like this. Let me add this here. I keep seeing fucking Lucas down here, and like, bro, do you not know how this unit works? Because I don't think people know how he works and what he does. He's a support DPS. And if you have Luke Lucas, I want to show you something, okay? And put my money where my mouth is, because I actually use the fucking unit. Look at this. I have 4 of these. That is 200% fixed damage per bullet. Per bullet. Do you know how many bullets go off when you use Luke? Bro, like, do I need to include like a clip of Luke like fucking blasting here? So you can see how many bullets he flies off? It's crazy to me, man. It's like, bro. Some of these tier lists, man. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Drop me a comment. Let me know what you guys think. I'd appreciate it if you liked the video, like always. And I will catch you guys another. Make sure you sub if you're new. Follow me on Twitch too. And also, join the fucking Discord. I want more people to talk in there. Peace.
You fight as if you have 9 lives. This world has no place for you.